Yeah, Jordan. Oh, I think I can just add you. I think I figured it out. Yeah! Social media pro.
Awesome.
People are gonna take a second to kind of join in. Um, it's obviously not gonna just be all fucking instamatic on how many people. Oh man, people are actually popping in kind of quick. This is neat. All right, how you doing, Jordan?
How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, lovely day in Southie. Got the window open. But what are you drinking there?
I'm Idle Hands Zero. I don't know how to pronounce it. It was brewed, bottled, and seen as a collaboration with Enlightenment.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. So people that are not familiar with Idle Hands, they're a local brewery in Malden, Massachusetts, and they're wonderful.
Yeah. No, they make killer beer. But I got that night heavy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a lot better than Nightlight, I'd say. But yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we got 13 people, and on the scale of live videos, from what I understand, that's actually a lot.
Okay.
So if we want, we can go ahead and get started with the interview.
Sure.
Awesome. Jordan Griffin, you are
That's me.
currently a freelancer, and you also write for Yankee Brew News. Is that correct?
That is
Sweet.
correct. Like a lot of folks during the pandemic are kind of freelancing, which is kind of a fancy term for we're in between.
Yeah.
Um, I'm writing news on and off for the last 7 years. So I've been doing that, which is great.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, no, physical copy is a pretty neat thing that not a lot of people get into. But it's, I don't know. I'd
Yeah,
much rather read a paper than read the news online. I don't know, but that's
right.
me.
Um, yeah, it's a dying breed, but solid, and they've been there forever. So yeah, um,
Yeah. And then
yeah,
to also give like more context onto you, you also worked at Trillium. You worked at Ipswich Ale. You also worked for Craft Brewers Guild, Massachusetts. Um,
yep.
so you've been in town for a while.
Yeah, I've been in the beer industry for about 7 years in Boston. I doing writing, editing, social media events, and marketing for breweries and wholesalers. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, so recently you won a scholarship with Pink Boot Society.
I
Um,
did.
Pink Boot Society. Obviously, most of the views are probably coming from Pink Boot Society, so they should know what it is. But if anyone who's coming in through the Dregs podcast, Pink Boot Society is a nonprofit organization that puts together scholarships for women in the beer industry to get further education within the beer industry.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, so you won a scholarship. What exactly was the scholarship that you won?
Yeah, so I'm actually one of 3 women in the United States that's won the scholarship, the full ride. They paid all expenses paid to go to the beer marketing and beer tourism conference, which is an annual conference that kind of moves around the country. And this year it was in St. Petersburg, Florida in February, which was awesome to get out of Boston and go to Florida
Yeah,
in. So, yeah, so and there's a bunch of basically everybody that attended either works for brewery direct or like a beer tourism company, somehow relating obviously to the industry. And there
Mhm.
were about probably 300 people in attendance. It was a good crowd and all over the country. So um, yeah,
Nice. Yeah, no, 300 people in one room is scary now, but back in was this in February, right?
Yeah, and actually, the husband and wife team from Brewery Sylvaticus up in Amesbury was there.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
it was kind of cool to see some fellow Massachusetts folks there. So
Yeah, awesome. Sweet. So while you were there, kind of like paint the picture of the general like scene of it all. Like, was it just
yeah,
like one space, or was it kind of broken off into a bunch of different groups, or?
yeah. So it's a 3-day long conference, and there are every day that there's like a keynote speaker where everybody in the conference goes to that presentation, and can kind of break off smaller conference rooms, like for more focused presentations. So there was stuff specifically for beer marketing, guerrilla marketing, beer travel, tourism thing.
Mhm.
But I mainly stuck to the marketing stuff because that was my job at the time.
Yeah,
And I got to pick and choose what you listen to and what you learn, which was nice.
yeah. Did you get into guerrilla marketing at all? I don't know. That just sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it was. The presenter was, and blanking on his name, but he was the guy, I can't remember the name of his company, but he was like a guerrilla marketer for his brand. There were like 5 craft breweries. So it
Yeah,
was really interesting to learn what he had to say about like guerrilla marketing back then and what worked back. I don't think it would necessarily work now because it's just
yeah.
such a different animal.
Okay.
Breweries market essentially, yeah, and it's a different game. So
Mhm. Awesome. So, marketing with breweries. I mean, like a lot of people, they just they start home brewing. They kind of get a local following within their friends. Their friends are always encouraging. They, procure a loan in some sort, open a business, and all they think is, I'm going to make beer. And people are going to drink my beer. Um, why is marketing and breweries like such a big role?
yeah, I mean, so there's thousands of breweries now, and so fortunately, it's not just good enough to have great liquid and have a cool looking can on the shelf.
Yep.
Successful breweries, have an entire story behind their brand. And this so Allagash, for example, is a great brewery. They own it. Like every time you open a beer from, you know, um, they're really good at telling their story and so I think people are have to be conscious of this.
Mhm.
It's you have to be the authority on your own brand and really not beer anymore.
Yeah.
Something that was really was this cognitive offloading because people have and can just Google whatever they want if they can't think of something. You're required to retain less information in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You can just find out an answer to whatever. So there's less
Yeah.
responsibility to remember stuff. And
Yeah.
so breweries have to fight that much harder to retain customers' attention and brand recognition. It's a lot more difficult now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't even know. Like, I used to know so many phone numbers. Like now it's like, I barely even know my own phone number. It's like,
So
yeah, no, being able to Google stuff has destroyed our brains
right,
and the retention.
it's awesome. Yeah, not remember anything. So why would you're going to a beer store and unless you like remember a brand or like that brand all about, chances are
Mhm.
off the shelf unless it has a really cool label, but
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah. And then so like with like social media is like the primary source for, I feel like for most people's, like advertisement, at least as far as breweries go and stuff like that. Can you kind of go a little bit deeper with that, or?
Yeah, one of the um, conferences, the offshoot conferences that I went to was about social media content, specifically video creation, social media influencers. So video is like the one social media content or platform now. And when I say short 3 to 15 second long videos, like on Instagram or Facebook, whatever.
Okay.
YouTube is also a channel, but that's kind of for more in-depth storytelling. So they're two video categories, I guess. So, and I have a note here, and I hate using the millennials as the term that they use at the conference, so I'm just going to use it. But they said that 80% millennials watch an hour or more of video content every day, which is insane. So automatically, if you're posting a video to Instagram or Twitter or whatever, you're going to get more engagements and interactions with that, just a flat two-dimensional post picture. So, and the thing with video, again, I'm a 15-second video, the product or name or label has to be in the video within the first 3 seconds, or else you're going to lose people. You want to create some sort of call to in the middle of the video. And then also, which was interesting that I took away, was 85% do not listen to audio in a video. So
I am one of those people. I never have audio for any videos.
Not even fair. Like, want bright flashes of color and words and be done, you know? So it's you know, wise to keep that in mind when you're planning your social media content and what you're posting and that sort of thing. And then the thing was social media influencers. I don't personally have any experience with this. I can see the merit of it. I don't have any, again, I don't know. But so, you know, the ideal situation is you find a few different influencers, so like 2 or 3 different people content at the same time. And people get paid to do this, what amazes me. So if you have 4,000 or more followers, the price per post is about $200. And then I don't know where this comes from. I don't know how they've determined, oh, it's $200 to post a picture on my Instagram. I don't know. Maybe I should do that.
Well, so I mean, so with like that 40,000 followers, so a $200 a post, like think of like those people that are like, who had that kind of following, you know, it's like, that's like low grade movie star, you know, so it's like, all right, cool. You know, like if I post a picture, like I got to pay people to influence, you know, like if I want to be an influencer, I got to pay the brands. That's how little you know, it's like, so it's like, you know, it kind of makes sense. I don't know. It's pretty funny because like the influencer stuff, like you can, the beer influencer people, you know, I obviously don't know what their situation is, you know, behind the scenes, but it seems like, you know, very specific demographic is like targeted as like a beer influencer, and it's very strange. I always like was super curious about like what the background of that actually looks like, and if it's just like, hey, I give you beer, or
you know, what makes them so, I don't know, how do they get 40,000 followers? Like, I don't understand. There's a whole like, you know, social media, or I'm sorry, social etiquette. Like if I'm, you know, if I have a brewery and I'm like, man, you know, I really want to advertise this beer and I want to use an influencer to do it, you kind of message them and you reach out and say, all right, give them an idea of what you want the post to look like, how many times you want them to post, immediately conversation straight off the bat, say, I'm going to give you, you know, in-kind donation also, obviously, and then you kind of haggle from there. And I think the most important thing about utilizing influencers, being able to track the performance, because if you're paying for something, you want to know what you're getting actually. So the easiest way to do it is likes, comments, shares. But if you post, you know, a link to, you know, shop now or sign up for a newsletter or whatever, get quick feedback that way as well.
Yeah, because like with like this account or like because I run the Modern Draft account basically, you know, we have like the insights of like how many people click on our website, how many people look at our profile, how many times was it shared, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's nuts how much data they give you. Like we know how old all of our followers are. Like that's insane. Like why do I need to know that? I don't need to know that. That's not pertinent. Like.
Right. I
But
think,
we also don't really sell product
that,
in that way. So,
right.
but.
I think that reminds me of a point is, so for any marketing, I think collecting emails is like the number one most important thing to do to not only grow your social media following, but on Facebook, whenever you have an event that you want to promote,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've done building them, you can choose a targeted audience, which you always that feature because it's more specific to who you prevent. So I didn't know this until I went to the conference. You can actually import your contacts from MailChimp into Facebook. So you create this targeted ad for all of the people that sign up to your newsletter, which kind of seems it's like, well, these people already know what's going on. Why would I want the thing? But what Facebook does is they create, I can't remember what it's called, audiences. All of those email contacts, the ad targets their friends on Facebook. So it's like, yeah, it's super creepy and stealthy. So not only reaching your fans, but you're reaching their friends and friends that have similar reporting to Facebook. So it's genius. So really important to get emails, not only for, you know, Facebook advertising and social media, but obviously for newsletter and that sort of thing as well. Yeah. Super creepy, super weird, but it works great.
Yeah. So. Kind of getting back on to something that you were kind of touching on before was like a brewery brand, like kind of creating that brand and then like rolling with that. Like, is there, I don't know what I'm even like trying to ask, but is it kind of creating an identity, sticking with that identity, kind of staying all on one page? And
yeah, so, you know, just to kind of build upon that, like I said, unfortunately, it's not good enough just to have good liquid and cool artwork. You have to really sell yourself as the authority of your own brand. So a way to do when you're building a brewery, you want to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Who am I? What is our mission statement? What is, you know, that makes us us? Why are we doing this? What makes us unique? And you really have to sell. And the way you do that is through social media content and marketing. And that's all of those pieces fit together. So Allagash, as I said, does a really great job at telling an entire story. So not just, so like, you know, you're drinking a beer and while you're drinking it, you think about, oh, Maine, and, you know, you look at Allagash, is absolutely gorgeous. Another brand I think that does a really good job of that is Firestone Walker. I don't know if you're familiar with that beer specifically, but
805.
Yeah, go on 805 and it's gorgeous. Like it's photographic museum quality stuff. And it really kind of tells the whole story of the Central California coast vibe. And it's like, even if you're not drinking beer, you look at that stuff and you're like, oh man, I want to do that. Or I want to go, you know, ride dirt bikes or parasail into the ocean or whatever the hell they're doing on the Instagram. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then another one from Firestone that I think is really creative. They have an IPA called Mind Haze. It's pretty new. They've been posting stuff on Instagram where they take like vintage photos from like National Geographic and then they like superimpose the beer on it and like all these weird psychedelic like backgrounds to it. So it's really nostalgic but really unique thing, and I haven't seen that before, so it's memorable. It's about oh, Firestone 5 and all fire brand all together. They do a really great job of so yeah.
No, it's funny because I'm from California area. So when 805 got rolled out, we had 3 bars, and we bought a lot of Firestone. So we actually had I forget his first name, but Mr. Walker, whatever, like the dude, he would like come to our 3 bars, you know, and go to each one in one day, just to like say what's up to people just because we bought so much beer. And I remember when like 805 came out, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, why does this look so different? Like, why is this completely different from the rest of your branding? And but it's crazy because it works, because when you're in California, you can get beer at grocery stores, unlike Massachusetts. So when you're in a grocery store, because everyone goes down the beer aisle, you look and it's just a sea of color, and then there's one section of just white and black 805, and it's just like,
It's like
yeah,
in a can. That's kind of like it as. And
yeah.
it's, I'm not from California, but like when I look at their YouTube or their Instagram page for that beer specifically, it's just like, wow, that's really cool. And it makes me want to drink it. It makes me want to know more about Firestone as a company.
Yeah.
I think they do a really great job with marketing and visual storytelling and really owning the brand and their voice.
Yeah. And then, I mean, with that, like, would you like beer traveling, beer tourism? That's super big. I do it. Like, if I'm traveling, I will write out what breweries I'm going to and like where I'm spending my time.
What's your favorite?
Sorry, broke up real quick.
Your the favorite brewery, your most favorite brewery that you've ever been to?
Favorite brewery I've ever been to?
Yeah. Hard question, I know.
Shit. Yeah, that one's really tough, because I mean, like, because I have like favorite breweries in each state. I won't say like my favorite brewery ever, because it's too hard. But like each state is kind of like its own favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, recently I've been going up to Portland a bunch.
Yeah.
But for me, actually, Portland, my favorite like beer stop is Portland Zoo. I don't know. It's called Portland Zoo.
Oh,
so it's like a tiny, 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 tiny bar. Like, we're talking 6 seats at the bar. They just have a kegerator with like 6 taps, but they only serve like craft beer on tap, and then they have like one cooler that has like Labatt Blue and 3 Fontenanes. You know, it's like they play it. It's like a dive bar, but not at the same time. I don't know, but it's like, for me, like beer tourism, like in Portland, like that's my spot. I don't know.
I got really sad, but
yeah, I don't know. Favorite brewery spot is like, it's so tough. I don't know.
So, well, back to your point of just, going to breweries when you travel and on vacation, destination breweries and like having a taproom space is another component of marketing and selling your brand, and being how to differentiate yourself from a different brewery, which again is really hard. There are thousands of them. So having a good taproom experience is critical to selling your brand on the shelf. And it said, again, I'm thinking back to one of the conferences I was in. They said 52% that travel go to breweries specifically, and then you're brewery and you have a positive experience, more than half of those customers will buy your brand at the store. Like, they'll recognize it. So it is absolutely critical to have a positive experience at your tap room. And the reason that people go to tap rooms as opposed to bars is that they know the beer is fresh. They know that the servers know what they're talking about. Flights, different sizes of beer was one of the top reasons why people go. So flights are great. Different pour sizes are great. That whole experience. So be it taproom events or taproom only beer release, exclusivity.
Yeah.
I can talk. Are all really important. So obviously right now taprooms are closed. And I actually just wrote an article, I just submitted it like a month ago, that talks about how breweries are taking taproom experiences online now because it's closed. But it's such a critical, important component that breweries are actually think, okay, how do we still engage customers and our fans online if they can't come to us? How do we come to them?
Yeah. I don't know. Personally, like, in the like Boston area, I feel like Lamplighter is doing that specific thing, is taking the taproom experience to the person on the internet. Like, yeah, I don't know, I feel like they're doing a great job. Like, I love that they're doing like fucking trivia.
Yeah.
Every week they still do trivia on Instagram.
And a lot of Redemption Rock is doing run clubs, like virtual run clubs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Jack's Abbey, Springdale, they're doing like virtual bike rides, like cycling.
Okay.
What was it? Remnant in Somerville did a knit night, so people just like
knit night.
Yeah, so people.
That's fucking awesome.
It's really great. It's like whatever you got to do. Like if that's your customer base, like crack open a beer and party, like
Yeah. Get some fucking hats.
Yeah, and so like events and like taproom stuff. Like events are super important, and like beer festivals. I don't know how you feel about them, but they're kind of like a little bit of a dying now. They're all kind of the same, and like people are kind of like, all right, what can we do to keep this, or what can we do to make this better? How can our beer festival be different?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Belgium Comes to Cooperstown Festival?
I have not, no.
Right. That's probably one of my favorites. It's like it's like a whole weekend, 2 or 3 days. You can camp on the brewery grounds and they go all out. There's bands, there's huge bonfires, there's like this VIP dinner. It's ridiculous. It is an absolute going to Cooperstown, New York and experiencing that once in your life if you have the opportunity. And also, so I'm a little bit biased because I'm originally from Michigan, but the Michigan Brewers Guild Festival was really great because it was like a 5-hour, and you could bring in like camping chairs and picnic blankets and like pop-up tents. And you can set up camp essentially, and then go do beer sampling. I was working with Trillium. I was on the planning team for the first ever field trip or field day festival that they did.
That first one was insane.
Yeah, thanks. It was myself and a team of 2 other women that kind of basically built for that festival. And so when we were in the planning phases, I was like really adamant because JC and Esther really wanted to do longer sessions and like different small pour sizes. So it wasn't just a 2-ounce get hammered as you can in 4 hours and then leave. And they're like, relax, slow, chill thing. And I was like, why don't you let people bring in like, camp chairs and blankets? I like kept hammering that point home until Esther was finally like, hey, Jordan, got that. I'm like, all right. So
trust me, after those pastry stouts, you're gonna want a lawn chair.
Exactly. I was really happy that they decided to do that. So that was totally my idea, and I'm gonna on the back for that. So but yeah, so just creating festivals and experience that tie into your brand and help the overall picture of who you are, and the experience is super important as it relates to the brand.
Yeah. Well, I guess as like a wrap up situation, social media is riding our brains, but super important for our businesses, and it like even like just through Modern Draught, it is insane how much business we get off of Instagram. It makes like almost no sense. Like,
it's a free advertising, if in a lot of breweries that have the budget to do this, they have somebody that just does social media content. Like that's their full-time job. And if you have resources to do that, it's worth the investment, 100%. I found that in a marketing, social media content events role, I feel that I'm constantly having to justify my job to the brewers, to the production workers, the guys that are stacking pallets in the warehouse. They're like, who gives a shit about taking a picture of a can coming off the line? And I'm like, a lot of people, actually, surprisingly. And again, there's a whole formula of how many times a day you post on what social media app and what time of the day. And, again, video versus 2-dimensional image. Does it link to this? And new stuff is coming out of media apps. I can't even keep up with it. So all of that matters very much. So
yeah, no, it's funny because most of the video content we put on Instagram is like full length, full audio, full everything, and those are always our least hit posts. And I'm just like, why isn't this doing good? And then when I saw your notes, I was like, I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah. Keep it simple, like no narration, nobody's paying attention to it, like 3 to 15 seconds, get to the point within 3 seconds, make it clear and obvious, and then move on.
Yeah.
And our attention spans, again, cognitive offloading, which like this, you know, you don't have to remember anything. You're not responsible for retaining information, so it's got to be like to the point, succinct. You know, repetition is actually a really good thing on social media. You know, clear, concise, repetitive is essentially the name.
That's why Sunday Funk Day does so good. It's because it doesn't need words, you know? It's like no words, instantly scarred into your brain.
Yeah, I saw, actually, there was a couple retweets on one of the videos that you guys posted on Instagram. I was going to text you, actually. I'm like, did you see this? Disgusting.
Was it the cask engine from last Sunday?
Like
yeah, dude, that went everywhere. Like, that I got texts from so many people being like, I saw this here, I saw this here. Yeah, we, like, just from the reposts of that, we got over, like, 100 new followers. And, like, for us, that's huge. Like,
that's awesome.
We're at 2,500. So 100 followers, you know, that's,
post. And that's
huge. One post got us an additional 1/25th of all of our followers. So it's like.
And the fact that you're willing to post shit that's really gross, but it's like, that's the reality of it. And like, you're obviously you're not saying who the account was or who was responsible for that.
Oh yeah.
But it's,
no. Scout's honor.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that like you're showing this kind of content, like, you know, people can relate to it and it's unique and it's memorable. That's the other thing.
It's real memorable.
Very memorable. Like, so good job.
Awesome. That's my one fucking, when I was like, we need to do Sunday Funk Days. We're like,
That's
what?
awesome.
I was like, yeah, we're starting a hashtag, you know.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a whole thing.
That's great. Oh, you know, one that was really interesting, Night Shift, another local brewery in Boston, Everett. They posted, you know, the starter packs, you know what I'm talking about? The like,
yeah.
So they did that, but like with 4 of their beers, which I thought was really funny and like unique and kind of like ties into their whole like persona as a brand. I thought that was a really fun, interesting, good job. So
yeah. I don't know. I think like kind of looking at the market and just like seeing what the micro influences, where it's like I don't know if you're aware of this, but Anheuser-Busch, they just came out with an Igloo Playmate cooler that says Crispy Boys on it. And it's like, there you go. See, like, recognize the micro influence that, like, people are saying this thing. It's not trademarked, apparently. Obviously, It can't be if it's, you know, getting blasted on coolers. Right. And they were able to take something that was, like, distinctively a craft beer thing, and they were able to just, boom, here it is. And, you know, we got it. And,
like, you know, so.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm all about those little nuance like, tags, but
it's hard to do. Like it's hard to be creative and like just, it's not that it's hard to be creative. It's hard to be creative on such a short notice and just being able to respond and react to things because, you know, on Twitter, a tweet after 18 minutes. So it's like, you know, that's the way things move. And you have to be able to adapt and be ahead of, you know, what's the next cool thing, what's going to resonate with our fans. And that's really hard to do. That is an absolutely full-time job. So that's when I get, you know, people are like, well, does anybody care about this? Like, yeah, they absolutely do.
Yeah, you know, your 20 to 100,000 followers, they all care that this is happening.
Just, I mean, think about it. Like, I don't know about you, but this is really terrible happening. Laying in bed at night on my trying to go to sleep, I'm scrolling through Instagram or Twitter or constant. It's like subconscious. You don't even know you're doing it. So, you know, again, cognitive offloading, you have to be unique and memorable. The timing is critical. So, and all of that is in marketing and selling the brand and the experience and the whole thing. There's a lot of breweries that do it well. There are few that do it at the expert level, in my opinion.
Awesome. Well, this was awesome. This is great. Very informative. Before we end it, would there be any like little either like shout outs or little tidbits of information that you'd like to give people that's going to help them out?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely first and foremost want to give a shout out to Pink Boots Society. They let me log in on the national Instagram today to talk with you all, which is really cool. I don't know if they've ever done that before, but we're all just kind of learning on the fly and kind of adjusting things during the pandemic. So I'm really glad that they were able to accommodate us. And this, being my pay it forward. So part of being in the Pink Boots Society, those of us that are fortunate enough to go on these educational ventures, we're sort of expected to pay the information forward to people that weren't able to go on these trips. So this is me doing that. I'm really glad I got the opportunity. So thank you to Pink Boots so much. My trip was awesome. I had a blast. I learned a lot. For women that are not part of the Pink Boots Society, that are in the beer industry, membership is invaluable. Well, it's actually $40 a year, but
it has a value, but the rewards.
It's valuable. So I really encourage. I've had nothing but a great experience being a Pink Boots member. So I really encourage women in the industry that haven't signed up to do so. So that's my shout out.
Yeah, no, the Boston chapter, I mean, I don't know about the other chapters because they're not in my immediate area, but the Boston chapter actually allows guys to go to the meetings. There's a slightly higher, pay to get in, but it's definitely worth the presentations, typically 2 to 3, even 4 presentations each meeting. So
people like me to Florida to learn stuff.
Yeah. And it's cool that, they allow us to kind of, be active.
That anybody in this industry can benefit from,
Yeah.
But yeah, Boston has the most members in the world currently, as far as last I knew, a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a really active chapter. We do all sorts of fun stuff. And, some of my friends are women in the industry and Pink Boots members. So they're great networking resource. So
yeah, no, it's absolutely great. And any female in the industry, 100%, you should be joining this thing. If not just purely for the contacts, like the amount of networking you can do from this alone is worth the $40. And if you want a further education, that's obviously instantly worth it, because most of these things are like, go to Germany or go to hop selection or go to like all these like crazy events. Like, it's worth the $40. You should definitely be doing this.
100%. Yep. So,
awesome.
Yeah, that was my shout out. But I guess, in summation of what I learned at the conference is social media is huge. Video is king. Content is everything. Be memorable, be consistent, be concise, and really develop your voice as a brand altogether. The more authority you have over your brand, the more confidence you instill in your fans and consumers, and the more likely they will be repeat consumers. And that's what we all want.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for taking the time to do this and allowing me to be the person that interviewed you. This is great. I took a little Corona break, and this was back on the horse,
Yeah.
So
yep. Cool. Well, stay safe and stay healthy, and hopefully we'll be able to have a beer together soon.
Very much so. Awesome.
Cool.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye,
Cheers.
everybody.